We have previously considered the affirmation of archaeology affording us evidence of the trustworthiness of the Bible. Now, today our lesson will bring another witness to the court of reason, and that is the testimony of history added to the testimony of archaeology. Luke chapter 1, verses 1 through 4, Luke, a very careful historian, writes this: Inasmuch as many have taken in hand to set in order a narrative of those things which have been fulfilled among us, just as those who from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word delivered them to us, it seemed good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all things from the very first, to write to you an orderly account, most excellent Theophilus, that you may know the certainty of those things in which you were instructed. Now, Luke does not claim to be an eyewitness, but rather a meticulous historian who interviewed eyewitnesses in his research. Sir William Ramsay was a renowned historian whose purpose was to discredit Luke's history. But when he tried, the opposite occurred. Following his investigation, he concluded Luke's history is unsurpassed in trustworthiness. Although Luke was not an eyewitness to the events of that which he wrote, there were eyewitnesses at the resurrection of Christ who provided contemporaneous testimony of the fact. Paul says, in that he was seen by Cephas, that is Peter, then by the 12. After that, he was seen by over 500 brethren at once, of whom the greater part remain to the present, but some have fallen asleep. After that, he was seen by James, then by all the apostles. Then last of all, he was seen by me, also as one born out of due time. Now, how reliable were these witnesses? The number of them and the fact that they were willing to suffer and die for their testimony make it implausible to explain anything other than that they saw Jesus alive from the dead. When the Bible is compared to other historical documents, it surpasses them in the sheer volume of ancient manuscripts, their proximity to the events that occurred, and their accuracy in those contents. Erwin Lutzer says that entire books have been written confirming the historicity of the Bible in matters related to geography, chronology, history of empires, and customs of each period. The Jewish historian Josephus wrote in the 1st century A.D. and said this: At this time there was a wise man called Jesus, and his conduct was good, and he was known to be virtuous. Pilate condemned him to be crucified and die. Those who became his disciples did not abandon his discipleship. They reported that he had appeared to them 3 days after his crucifixion and that he was alive. Now, to the Jewish historian, we add the witness of a Gentile, the Roman historian Tacitus. He penned these words in AD 116. Neither human effort, nor the emperor's generosity, nor the placating of the gods ended the scandalous belief that the fire had been ordered by Nero. Therefore, to put down the rumor, Nero substituted as culprits and punished in the most unusual ways those hated for their shameful acts, whom the crowd called Christians. The founder of this name, Christ, Christus in Latin, had been executed in the reign of Tiberius by the procurator Pontius Pilate. Suppressed for a time, the deadly superstition erupted again not only in Judea, the origin of this evil, but also in the city of Rome, where all things horrible and shameful from everywhere come together and become popular. So we see that from Jewish and Roman sources, those who were not followers of the Christian faith, and the history of the biblical writers themselves, which measures up to the standards of how we gauge authentic history, we have every reason to be confident of the accuracy of the Word of God.